Okay, so let's watch this Sherry Conley clip. It's 137. So I believe this is this is about book bans. So it's one of the insane which bill is it? The bill which passed the House would force librarians to disclose to parents the information on the library books in their kids' checkout,
Is this
even
school
if it could,
librarians?
even if it could result in severe harm to the child. So it is a law. Here, let's just look at the law real quick so we're educated on what this is. So a librarian, which is in whole or in part supported by public funds, including but not limited to public, academic, school, special libraries, and having records indicating which of its documents or other materials, regardless of format, have been loaned to or used by an identifiable individual or group, shall not disclose such records to any person except to persons acting within the scope of their duties as a library person, persons authorized to inspect such records and writings by the individual or group, a parent or legal guardian requesting records of his or her minor child, and by order of court of law. So it is adding a step to force librarians, and based on the wording of that law, that would include public libraries, college libraries, if your child is still a minor, high school K through 12 libraries, to disclose if a parent wants to know what their child is getting.
I feel like the parents who are concerned about what their children are reading are parents who have children that don't fucking read. So,
or parents who should not be told what their kids are reading.
Right.
It's like the gun ownership argument. It's like the people that want guns the most are the people who need guns the least. It's like the parent that needs to know what their child is checking out from the library is definitely the parent who least should be informed of what their child is checking out from the library. Like, if you can't ask your kid, hey, what'd you pick up at the library, and get a straight answer, you definitely don't need the library doing that work for you. I'm sorry. Just gonna call that one.
These are like high school and middle school age students like checking out books like this, like a lot of the time, if it's like not, like young adult fiction, then it's probably a book that they're checking out for class in order to write a report or something.
Right.
It's not like children just go and are like, let me go find the most radical books in my library and check them all out at the same time. Like, this is not a thought process that kids
Let me create a paper trail so that somebody could find out that I am reading banned books. Like, give me a fucking break. I mean, like, I don't know.
They're so dramatic about it. And
okay,
I don't think about any books that I've ever read, like, throughout my, K through 12 career that would have qualified to radicalize me, but it's just like they're not there. Like Perks of Being a Wallflower is literally about being depressed and just like different, and they're trying to ban that as well. They're like, don't tell kids what it's like to be depressed because then they'll be depressed and then they'll I don't know, radicalize themselves and overthrow the government. Who fucking knows what their concern is, but it's just...
All right. Well, let's see what Sherry has to say about it here real quick.
So encouraged that parents are concerned about what their children are consuming, and I would hope that this would encourage parents to pay more attention in the future.
Representative Bell, you're recognized for a question on the bill as amended.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative, I'm just curious because I heard you mention before that this isn't an issue in our public libraries or publicly funded libraries, except for perhaps in a school or in a particular school district. I'm wondering if you can tell the body what school district that is.
Thank you for the question. Stillwater.
For follow-up.
Conley's from Newcastle, just
Thank
so you know.
Speaker.
She's not even from Stillwater.
How many do we have total in the state?
521, maybe? I don't know. It seems like the number changes.
For one more follow-up, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your leniency. So we're talking about something that may have happened to one or a small group of parents in terms of the denial that you're talking about in 1 out of 500 plus school districts across the state?
Thank you so much for that. And what I would say about that is that, you may only see one cockroach in your kitchen, but doesn't mean there's only one there.
Representative Chad Caldwell, you're recognized for a question on the
So, and then of course I gotta wait for the very end, the mic drop. So she basically compares librarians to cockroaches and says, like, there's one librarian that I guess denied a parent, like, I'm not gonna tell you what your kid's checking out. Like, go figure it out. I don't know what the situation was. I can't imagine it required a law to be written about it, but maybe.
Her attitude is what gets me because
Gross. Yeah.
thank you for that question. And she's just like all like hyping herself up for whatever the fuck bullshit she's about to say. It's like, calm down with your side bangs. Like, it's just, this affected like maybe 2 people in the entire state, and you're like, this is an abundant issue that needs to be fixed right now, or we're all gonna go to hell. Like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
calm down. Let's calm down. It's gonna
Yeah.
be okay.
One school district had an issue, and again, if I would be willing to bet at least $1, possibly 10, that if you dug into like what really happened at this Stillwater thing, this is like a total like nothing burger, like just not even that big a deal.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of adults acting extraordinarily weird.
And Marilyn Bell, who's just like trying to figure out what the hell this is all about, and like Sherry's from Newcastle. Meanwhile, she's focused on like this incident that happened in Stillwater. It's like,
Yeah.
How did she know that happened? Who told you? Are you like fishing around for this data that is basically impossible to find? So I just,
I mean, that's how all these right-wing culture war things start, is they go and find like the one really weird, really obnoxious situation, and then and then it's the cockroaches. You found one, so now there must be hundreds, and it's like, no, there's probably just one. Like people are weird. Like, sorry to be the first to tell you that.
as we all know, school libraries do not have like a ton of books. Like, they've got books, but it's not like a municipal library like that we have in towns and cities. So if she's worried about that, what about when kids leave school and they go to the other library, the big library with all of the books available? And like, does she want those librarians to also give up?
Oh yeah, no, this law as written would definitely apply to them. It's any public library, any library that receives public funds. So yeah, it would absolutely apply. So I mean, it's also just going to create chaos. And of course, conservatives don't like libraries. Those are socialism. Like, what? We're all buying books and sharing them with each other? That's insanity. Like, who would ever think to do that? I mean, no, I mean they are, I guess, worried that that's.
My brother works in like the library system, like the public library system, and they have like a lot of programs for kids after school, different things going on. And it's just like, you're kind of violating like your child's own privacy. Like, because I mean, yeah, they could be reading radical leftist theory, but they could also be reading like, things that you don't want to know that your child's into, like super gooey and like gushy romantic shit that's just like over the top. It's just not, it's not a problem, and they're making smoke where a fire doesn't exist. So.
Right. Yeah. So it's also just too like weird, creepy thought police type stuff. It's like, I gotta know like what my child is. And it's like, too, like, I mean, for those of us that are parents, like, you just build a relationship with your child, and your child will tell you things. Like, like, you don't have to make it, like, ultra weird. Like, you have a conversation with them about good content and bad content, and, like, why certain content is better than others, or why you should maybe get into this and not into that. I mean, like, it's just
we talk about all this, like, parents' choice to know things about their kids. It's like, just fucking ask your kids.
Yeah.
And if they're not willing to share things with you, maybe analyze. What about your, like, demeanor makes them feel like they have to hide things from you? Because, like, I never hid anything from my mother. Like, completely open book, but she's also a really cool fucking person. So I don't need to hide things from her. Because I wasn't scared of her reaction. Like, maybe a little bit if I'm doing something that, like, I like deep down knew I shouldn't have been doing, I'm gonna hold
Right.
it back. But in terms of like what I'm learning, and if I feel like it's important, as to like where I want to take my life, then yeah, I'm fucking letting my mom know, and raised me right, so we share a lot of the same opinions, and there's not a lot of disconnect. It's just like establish good relationships with your kids, and we won't need the legislature to come in and tell you that you have the authority to go demand a list of books that they've checked out from the library.
And like, just, it's such a weird, like, to me, like, big government thing. Like, you're injecting the librarian into your like weird family dynamic. Like, it's like we gotta put the librarian, like, the librarian's just there to like run the library and like check books out. Like, they're not there to like police your kids' content choices. Like, that's not their job. Like, their job is to like check books in and out and like answer questions about like how to find the microfiche or whatever it is, you know, like, sorry, dating myself there with that reference. But anyway, like why, like, to me, this is like even like bigger government. It's like, I do not want the librarian anywhere getting up on my kid about like his book choices. Like, I just want the librarian to like give my kid their book and move on. It's just it's such a weird thing to me, like, why you would think that we need a law like this, and then just like the practical applications of like the government now getting into your kids' content choices. It's just, it's bizarre, very bizarre. So anyway, Sherry Conley, Adriana's racist, like, what, 4th grade teacher or something. Just
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm actually glad we could talk about Conley without having to like make Adriana relive that, because that was a very awkward moment.
This woman used to be a teacher, and she's up there like all catty and shit, like acting like she's like delivering zinger after zinger, and it's like, no, you're just saying bullshit, and you think you're fucking killing it right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, like the worst teacher, right? Like,
keep her out.
Yeah, like she you can just tell just from like the presentation and body language, she would be that teacher that like just, yeah, no, did not need to be in a classroom.
She thinks she's on her girl boss shit. It's
Yeah.
not there.
Thanks for watching our video. Please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content. If you want to engage with us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.